ANC's KwaZulu-Natal conference degenerated into total chaos last night at the University of Zululand out in Empangeni. This after a Pietermaritzburg High Court granted an interim order to branch members halting the entire conference. The complainants want certain irregularities within the region to be addressed well before any new elective conference gets underway, and party leaders were forced to change the conference into a consultative meeting, with many delegates objecting to this. Now, the party's national chairperson Pietermaritzburg was also heckled and booed when he attempted to deliver his opening address. The members sang pro-Jacob Zuma songs, only accepted to listen to provincial task team coordinator Sihle Zigalala. The media was also removed from the venue. The court case will resume on the 2nd of July.
As the ANC will respect the court's decision. Secondly, we want to say we will continue as the consultative conference, having been disbanded as the elective conference. We do that in the hope that the conference will concentrate on the terms of nomination for next year. We'll be making sure to uphold government policies of the Kwazulu-Natal region.
Well, KwaZulu-Natal ANC delegates have started to converge at the venue of the University of Zululand in Empangeni in the province's north coast this morning to continue with the conference, which was converted into a consultative conference. And SABC's Ayanda Mhlongo is attending the event and is on standby with the latest. Ayanda, a very good morning to you. Do give us the latest. I mean, how is the mood among the delegates after that event was converted from an elective conference into a consultative one?
A very good morning to you, Alicia. Disappointed, angry is how I can describe the mood of some delegates last night, as you read there in your introduction, that what was supposed to have been the opening address for the consultative conference generated into chaos last night, with the delegates singing songs and booing and heckling leaders. The national chairperson, Mr. Pietermaritzburg, was trying to speak to them. He was going to deliver the opening address and was unable to do that, as the delegates just simply would not listen to him. In fact, it was only Sihle Zigalala, the coordinator of the provincial task team, that they would listen to. Even at some point when Mr. Mike Mabiakulu, the convener of the PTT, when he also tried to talk to the delegates, they would sing and refused to listen to him. So last night, very chaotic scenes taking place, eventually leading, of course, to the ANC then forcing members of the media, who were also rather mistreated last night, insults hurled at the media as they were ushered out of the venue, and no really explanation as to why, because the members of the media had been invited to this conference to cover the conference and been requested, of course, to cover that opening address. And so last night, Alicia, people leaving here rather disappointed, rather angry at the events that had taken place. But this morning, we can now confirm, which is what we've been told, Alicia, is that this conference is going to now be called off. The delegates refusing during that closed session last night, refusing it to be changed into a consultative meeting. And what will happen now is that although the delegates have started to arrive, basically now they're just going to be informed that the conference has been called off. They will then wrap, and the delegates will then make their way back home. We do know, I've been told that the leaders will address members of the media later today, of course, on that decision, but really a disappointment by branch members. In fact, we understand that some, as of last night, left and said that they will not be returning today, saying that they would not partake in a consultative conference. They came here for the provincial elective conference, and after that ruling, of course, by the Pietermaritzburg High Court granting that order in respect of the members or the branch members that had filed that urgent court interdict to halt the conference, they then said that they need to go back to the drawing board, and I suppose then at a later stage the ANC leaders will have to decide how to proceed with the matter of KwaZulu-Natal, Alicia.
You know, Ayanda, I remember speaking to you about these very same matters during the much important elective conference in Nasrec last year. And I mean, the region, particularly KwaZulu-Natal, was given ample time from that conference to get its house in order. I mean, what happened with the provincial task team that was supposed to address these issues? And maybe talk to us about these irregularities within the region that they are claiming need to be addressed before this PEC.
Alicia, the PTT, as you know, was established in January after the ANC's 54th conference that you're just speaking about in Nasrec, to prepare the regions for their regional conferences, but also to prepare for this provincial conference. There were a number of issues before Nasrec, the Nasrec conference. Branches had already raised concerns of manipulation, to say that they were being deliberately excluded from BGM so that they would not be part of the delegates that would go to Nasrec. And of course, we know the issues and the divisions that existed in the ANC in the lead up to that national conference. Coming back to KZN, of course, the PTT, together with the National Executive Committee of the ANC and the National Working Committee, have spent quite a lot of time in this province, visiting region by region to try and deal with the issues and the concerns that have been raised by branches in the respective regions. It appears, Alicia, that they, in some, maybe they did get some headway, but in others, branch members still very much not satisfied with their matters and still saying that their matters have not been resolved. We are in this position, or the ANC is in this position, Alicia, because largely of those branches that said that their matters had not been resolved, still complaining that their BGMs, some they said the BGMs had not set, others saying that they felt that there was some sort of manipulation in those BGMs, and as a result then felt that those who had qualified to be part of this conference should not have in fact have qualified, and those that were not given the go-ahead to partake in the conference should have been, and they simply saying that it was a result of deliberate act by some leaders to exclude certain branches who may have supported particular leaders in the build-up to the national conference, but also who may have probably wanted to see or support certain leaders here in KwaZulu-Natal to have been elected at this conference. Alicia, the work of the ANC, particularly in this province, was still going to go ahead. As you can see, it's still very much in disarray. You'd know that they've only been able to hold 6 regional conferences of the 8 that were supposed to have been held, the other 3 having to be postponed because of the political infighting, and as you know, that political killings as well have also been quite a challenge for the ANC here in this province. And so it really seems that the ANC has its work cut out for the province of KwaZulu-Natal. As a report was saying this morning that the national chairperson, Mr. Pietermaritzburg, said it's back to the drawing board, but he's rather himself quite disappointed with what happened. They'd felt that KwaZulu-Natal was ready, although yes, they admitted as the NEC that there were still some challenges here and there, but they'd hoped that they'd reached the threshold and they were confident that they were going to be able to hold a successful conference. Unfortunately, it is not the case. It now means that the ANC needs to go back to those regions where there are still challenges to try and resolve them, because clearly trying to move on, looking at the situation as it is, they're probably going to land themselves in court again. So it's really back to the drawing board for the ANC. A lot of work still ahead for the national leaders of the ANC, Alicia, to try and resolve the problems of KwaZulu-Natal.
You know, Ayanda, I mean, while we're speaking of the ANC, let's talk about the main structure. This is a question that I'm sure I've also asked you time and time again. Why isn't there direct or directive action or from the main structure to say this is the course of action that the branches need to take? They need to take leadership from the main structures and not the other way around, because we're going to go back and forth with this factionalism battle till December again, it seems.
Yeah, it seems, the NEC will tell you that they have instructed as the leadership and they have assisted the lower structures and guided the lower structures, but there still seems to be, Alicia, some resistance on the ground, that there's still some members on the ground that are not satisfied. There's been allegations, Alicia, or claims that the NEC of the ANC in itself is split, and as a result then they will not be able to resolve the problems of KwaZulu-Natal, because leaders will say one thing and another leader will say another, and the confusion that is said to be at the NEC unfortunately is also then impacting what we see now on the ground, because like it or not, although they've said that there's unity, although they've said that the province of KwaZulu-Natal is 100% behind the leadership of the ANC, but the truth of the matter, Alicia, is that when we are on the ground, when we attend these stories, we are still going to rallies being called by a particular faction, and we're still going to media briefings being called by a particular faction. When you speak to the branches on the ground, Alicia, some will not attend a meeting if somebody else is in a meeting. So the fact that the members of the media or the public have been told that all is well, clearly for us who are on the ground who cover these events on a daily basis, that is not the case. The ANC in this province is very much divided. They speak of unity, saying that it's they're going to be working at unity. We certainly have not seen that yet. Yes, there is and has been some sort of an attempt, but the mere fact, Alicia, that there are still people who disagree, not on constitutional matters, still disagree when it comes to some might call them minor matters and minor grievances within the party. That shows you that the ANC is still a long way ahead from unity, and the branches are saying that the NEC needs to lead, and it's up to the national leaders of the ANC to lead by example. But and also to have one voice, because it seems from what we pick up from the branches that is where the confusion is, that branches are still divided along factional lines, Alicia.
Absolutely, Ayanda. I think they really need to looking for a body that is going to manage those disputes. Ayanda, let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much. As always, a sound update from our reporter there, Ayanda Mhlongo, all the way from Empangeni in northern KwaZulu-Natal, where the ANC's PEC was supposed to take place, but it was later converted into a consultative conference after total chaos broke down. Now, the DA's federal executive is expected to clarify the impasse regarding the validity of the appointment of Natasha Mazzoni to the position of the party